Hello, hope everyone's having a good day. So today I wanted to make a technical analysis on Daniel Stahl. For those of you who live under a rock and don't know who Daniel Stahl is, he is currently the defending world champion. He's an Olympic champion. He's a three-time world champ. And basically has been the best discus thrower for basically the past decade. It went, Vergilius Alekna, and then Gerd Cantor, and then Robert Harding, and then I guess Peter Malachowski for like 2 years, and then Daniel Stahl kind of came on the scene, and he's not looked back. He's still beating people like insane people the world record holder and the world record holder Miklos Alekna. He's beat Christian Che. He's beat Guzdias. He's beat, so many 70 plus meter throwers. He's truly one of the best ever. This is a 73 meter, 74 foul. And I thought we would break this down. One, because I've actually watched entire lecture of his coach at the time, Vestina Stuyson, who, if you guys are new to my channel or have been with my channel a lot, I consider the best discus coach to ever live. He's coached my favorite thrower ever, Gerd Cantor. He's coached the most 70-meter throwers ever. He's coached Simone Peterson, Daniel Stahl, Gerd Cantor. He's coached so many people that made it to world and Olympic finals. I mean, he's just the GOAT when it comes to discus coaching. I don't think it's even close. Based on, the distances of the athletes that he's coached and, all the medal. I mean, he's coached the most, discus Olympic champions, I'm pretty sure, the most 70-meter throwers. He's coached two of the top 5 distance throwers, in terms of distance, throwers ever in Stahl and Gerd Cantor. And he's just unbelievable. And, but this isn't a video about him. I actually made a full video about him. Because he was also a thrower for Iceland as well in the 90s. So you can go check that out too. But this will be a technical analysis on him. But I watched a full breakdown, like a 2-hour long video, which I think you can find on YouTube, about his coach breaking down this throw and stuff, and why it was kind of a lazy foul. And I tend to actually agree. I was actually very surprised he fouled this because it really did look kind of lazy, a foul. But yeah, this was an incredible throw. I want to thank Athletics Videos 8247 for the video. Fantastic video, so go give them a follow. And let's get to it. All right. So we'll play this a couple times. As you can see, that was a kind of lazy foul, to be quite honest. He could have definitely saved that. If he just did one hop. One more hop. But again, what one could interpret as a lazy foul, that actually... Maybe he just couldn't hold it. I don't know, but whatever. What's done is done. But I don't think he's crying at night about this throw, or maybe I don't know. But I wouldn't if I was him. If I had the career he's had, and he's still a 71 plus meter thrower. So, and if he ever decides to go to Ramona, he'll probably break the world record. Let's get to it. So, Daniel Stahl, you're going to see some themes in his throw. He is very well. Oh, actually, before we begin, it is kind of raining a little bit, so I do apologize. That's also why I haven't been uploading a video. It's been raining so much, and I thought it would disrupt the sound quality and whatnot of the videos, and I wanted you guys to actually hear me. So, it's a light drizzle now, so I'm getting my chance to actually record a video. So I do apologize. It's also been the holidays. But yeah. But let's get back to it. So you're going to notice a theme. with his throw. This is, and it is going to be. He takes very good advantage of his wingspan, which, as you can see here, is large. He is a large man. I've actually seen him throw in person. I saw him throw like 66, 67 meters, I think, at the China invite. Or did he throw that far? Maybe he only threw like 65. Well, only 65. That's okay. It was early in the season for him. Yeah, but it was a treat to see him throw. I think that was in 2019. So that's the year he got the silver medal in the World Championships. And yeah, let's get to it. So, get here. Oh, sorry. No. Wait, he won in 2019. No, sorry. In 2017 in London, he got silver because Guzdi's beat him. I totally forgot. No. This is the year he actually won in 2019 in Doha. Okay. Yeah, no. Never mind. Well, that was the year I saw him. Sorry. I actually don't know what year this is. I'm pretty sure it was around that year. Yeah, because I think this was before COVID. I forget the exact year. But whatever. His technique hasn't really changed on this throw. And that much of a big deal. And anyway, I think this is the furthest throw I've seen him throw like on camera. So we're going to analyze it. I know it's weird for me to analyze a foul, but whatever. You'll get the picture of his throw. So let's start with his wind. So he's offset a little. And I think from what I remember from that lecture, I think it was because there was like a slick spot or something in the ring. I could be wrong. But I said this in the last video I made. Some people offset in a competition because he normally does not offset. But sometimes they do, maybe because there's a slick spot in the ring or the cage is like angled weird or something and the sectors are like a little off. Obviously, this is a diamond league, so the sectors are not off, or I hope they're not. But as you can clearly see, like his middle foot, his right foot is in the middle right here, and that's usually weird because now he's gonna have a shorter time. So this is kind of like how John Powell used to throw. He used to offset this way. Mikko Zelekna kind of does that a little bit too, but you'll see a lot more people offset where their left foot is here. So then that they have a lot more ring, and they basically make the ring bigger. You see a lot of shot putters do that, like a Tom Walsh or Adam Nelson or Fabry or Krauser do a little bit, has started doing it in recent years. You see very few discus throwers do this. So you get like the Eric Cadiz or people like that. But yeah, usually people offset like this because there's like a little slick spot in the ring, or they're really under rotating out the back. So if they're under rotating that day or something, sometimes they'll offset this way just so they'll go straight down the middle and not down that sector. Because if you under rotate where you're offset here, you're just going to go down there, down the middle there. So it could be multiple reasons. I forgot the exact reason why he's offsetting, but he usually doesn't offset. So let's see, he winds. Nice even distribution of weight. As you can see, he's perfectly distributed, so he has weight on both legs evenly. Really takes advantage. He has such a long wingspan. God. And let's see. Gets here. So now he's going to start to unwind. You notice that both his knees are bent. He hasn't moved this right foot. So when you wind, you don't want to move this right foot. And I'm speaking for a right-handed thrower. The reason is because you want your hips to stop at some point, and you want your upper body to continue winding back. And what this does is it creates a bunch of tension and torque, all right, and in your core and your torso and whatnot. And that allows you to, one, establish separation, so allows your legs to go ahead of your upper body, which is what you want through the throw to maintain tension. And it allows you to hold tension all easier. All right, so you get here, he turns. Now, if you notice, he's very, very flat-footed here. Usually, you would start to see the left heel rise a little bit. You see his discus is very far back. That's very good. But he keeps his left foot really, really low to the ground, and he doesn't turn it a lot. Now, if you notice, yeah, there you go. See, under-rotates a little on the outside of his foot. Me personally, I do not coach people to do that. Because I think it leads to inconsistencies, it leads to under rotation, and it really can mess up your hips, because then your hips won't turn all the way, and it will mess up your sweep, and it'll just mess up the throw, and you'll be more off balance. However, the way he's doing it is, one, the way Veston coaches, and honestly the way I used to throw a little too. One, because I just love Veston, and then two, because you'll see a lot of speed-oriented throwers do this, or you'll see a lot of people throw like this who just don't have much mobility, to be quite honest, because it does take a lot of mobility to actually turn all the way out the back with force. And you'll see here, he gets on the outside of his foot a little, but he does continue to turn. But as you can see, like, he is over his left. Let me back up a little bit. He is over his left a little bit. I would like it. Not saying I know anything more than Vestinus Dyson, but just a little nitpick. I would like him to be a little more over, so reaching more over his left and have his armpit over his knee. So I think he kind of falls in just a little bit. But he is over his left. So, yeah. And he has a super wide sweep. Very, very nice there. And I love this position with his arms. Very, very nice. Just flat. Doesn't go up and down. Very, very nice. I would just like his center mass to be more like here. Like more on top of his left foot. But you know, he's still over his left. It's just in the way that like a Mac Wilkins or Gerd Cantor would have been, or Robert Harding, and you'll tend to see that a lot more in discus and shot put. You tend to see a lot more people like stacked way over their left, because one, shot put's a lot easier to get over your left than in discus, and then two, it's just, you know, the physics of shot put and discus. I'm not going to get into that because I want to stay on topic, but yeah, you get over the left differently in shot and disc. So he is over his left, and the reason I say he's over his left is because he has weight over his left, and that's left foot, and that's the most important thing, because he's not slipping or anything. And you'll know if you don't have weight over your left is if you're in a dry ring that's not super slippery and you're just slipping out the back, or you feel really unbalanced, or you're falling in, or if you're a right-handed thrower, you have a tendency to go that way, or kind of collapse in the middle with your hips. That means you probably don't have weight over your left, or it's just you just stop turning too. So what my advice is to keep weight on the inside of the foot. So think about turning on the big toe, all right, and keeping that knee in line with your hip, with your toes, like you would a squat. All right, and just have an equal turn with that, and then reach far with that left arm to get the left armpit over the left knee. All right, that's usually the standard. Now, obviously, Daniel Stahl, of course, knows what he's doing because he's one of the greatest to ever do it, and this is a style of throwing. All right, some of my favorite throwers ever, like I've just listed, like they throw like this. And you'll see a lot more discus throwers have this kind of like jackknife to it, like this kind of angle instead of just straight up and down. And this kind of off balance to balance is kind of like hammer, where you're in like a really, really weird position with your like left hip, like you're kind of, it almost looks like you're falling in, like you're at this crazy angle here. And what that does is balanced unbalance, as I like to call it, where you're unbalanced but in like a controlled way. It's a really, really fine line. But what that does is it creates a lot of force and a lot of speed. Reason I don't teach that a lot is because you have to be very good to handle that. And it's hard to stay consistent, and a lot of people can't handle those forces. So it can lead to knee injuries. Not like anything severe. It's not like you're going to maybe you tear your ACL, but I've never heard of anybody doing that. But it just puts a lot of strain on your knee and whatnot. And I think if you're not good enough to do it, like at the level of someone who can handle that in terms of strength and just pure athleticism and speed, there's no need to throw like this. However, Daniel Stahl is an exception to the rule. He's the top 1% of athletes. He's an absolute Viking, literally. I mean, he's Swedish. Like he's a man. He's a real man. And you know, he can obviously handle those forces. You know, he's been throwing for over a decade. I think one of the first videos I ever saw of Daniel Ståhl was in like 2013, 2014. But he's been throwing longer than that. But I mean, on the pro stage, he's been throwing for way over a decade. He's he's been throwing for a long time. But yeah, this is just a very, very hard position. But obviously, he can handle it, and he is balanced. All right. Now you get here, very, very wide sweep, flat orbit for now. Now he pushes off his left, or his sweep is carrying him and snaps his left around. Either way you want to look at it, but he gets off his left. Right here. Now, you can see here, he slightly starts to bend his left elbow. All right? And you'll see this a lot with a lot of taller and bigger guys. That they tend to bend their elbow a little in. And the reason why is because, especially if you're tall, because it helps you not travel too far across the ring. When you're like super tall, like 6'5 plus, it's very easy to just use up a lot of the ring. So a lot of people will bend their left arm a little bit in the middle to kind of keep their center of mass more to the center, and help them not travel too far across. Now you notice he's not pulling across. Like he's not like just ripping his left arm around. Like he holds his chest here, and you can tell it's like a deliberate thing. Like he's deliberately bending his left arm a little. All right. And then he gets to the middle. Very, very nice. I love the distance between his knees. He's not squeezing his knees. He's not touching them together. He's keeping them wide. And I really, really love that. I've been on several rants, but I really like that because I think it prevents your hips from collapsing, and it prevents you from just cutting off your rotational energy. And it's just overall a good thing, and it's a lot more natural. All right, so I'm not going to get a whole spiel on that. I've actually made an entire video on that and stuff about why I hate the cue squeeze the knees, and why you should have distance between your knees. But if you look at almost every elite thrower, they will have distance between their knees in this position. All right, and it's for the reasons I said. All right, he gets here. Very, very nice stack right here. That's super nice. And what I mean by stack is your foot, knee, hip, chest, and head and right shoulder are all in a line. That's beautiful. And let's see, does he actually do a little hip curl? Yeah, he does. He does do a little hip curl. So he gets here, turns a little in midair like a Lars Riedel would do, and now he's touching there. Now, a lot of people will say he should have touched down there. But I really like this. I really like hip curls. And what I mean by that is instead of landing right here, and your foot is facing 90 degrees, you turn just a little bit in midair. So now his foot's facing the back of the ring. What this does is, I think it creates a lot more tension and allows you to have a lot more separation between your hips and your upper body, and it allows your hips to be a lot more active and basically increase rotational velocity into the throw. All right. And I think it allows you to, one, get down your left a lot faster, and two, keep turning in the middle. And he's going to do a fantastic job of that because he's awesome. And just look at that. God. That discus is so far back. You know, I don't think people understand how hard that is to keep a 2K that far back and actually finish the throw down the middle. Like, people can catch it that far back, but usually people don't have the patience or the strength with the 2K to actually whip it like all the way around to where it's supposed to go. Usually, if people catch it back here, it will go straight into this net right here. But you got to have the patience, the flexibility, mobility, and the strength to actually be able to handle that kind of force. Now, a lot of people say, oh, he's landing open, his left arm should be like here. I disagree with that. All right? Because he's not open. I would classify him as being open if his discus was like here, like here. Open to me is when you've lost your separation and your upper body lands ahead of your lower body. All right? He's not open here. All right? Now, you could argue he's pulling a little, but he's not open. All right? Just because you don't hit that perfect T, that it doesn't really matter. As long as you maintain that separation and the implement is behind your right hip, you're not open. All right? At least in my definition of open. People have different definitions, but yeah, I think he is pulling just a little bit. But which I think is a little reason why he fouls, just a little bit. But let's see. Turns here. He does a fantastic job of keeping this right heel up the entire time. So you can see the second he lands, it does not drop. And he doesn't. Daniel Stahl is like the go-to person I go to when I show my athletes an example of how to work the discus out and long around you. One, because it's very easy to show, because he has such long arms. Two, because he does arguably the best ever at it. And then three, there's good footage, like good quality footage of him, because it's not from like the 2000s. Because my other go-to person would be like early Gerd Cantor from like the 2007 World Champs, or Peter Malachowski. But you see this little lean. Okay, well, maybe you don't, because one frame and he's out. But you see how he's out so wide out here? That is one of the hardest things to do in discus, is to work out wide like that. And it starts here. So you notice left heel starts to the ground. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Left heel grounds. As that happens, I want you to look at his right heel. You see how his left heel goes up? When the right heel goes up, notice what that does to his right knee. It makes it go out this way. What this allows him to do now is work out and around. And it allows him to push down, keep pushing down on the ground, and basically keep that right knee bent. And basically it allows him to work around. It's a very, very, very small, minute detail, but it leads. It's honestly one of the biggest aspects I see in how people kill their throw at the finish, is this right here, this motion right here. Because this, one, makes you not rush the finish. Because if he just landed it with his left foot and just turned, he's just kind of just turning, but he's not actually producing force. There's a big difference. I can just spin around on a circle, but not really produce any force. But if I keep pushing and grinding into the ground, that's where you can produce the force right there. And it starts with that knee going out a little bit. Just a little. Like, you don't want a crazy amount, because then you slow down and it's really hard to do and really unforgiving on your joints. It's just this very, very subtle movement right here. Right here. And what that does now is it allows him to be rotational. And as you can see, now he works all the way around. And if you notice, if he didn't do that, his left knee would just be going into his right knee would be going into his left knee. And it would lead to him just shifting his weight too early over his block, which means he's taking weight off his right foot, which means he's not producing force, because you can't produce force in the air. So I really, really like that. I think more people should be talking about this aspect of the throw, and I see it. There's so many athletes who miss this picture, and it's for shot and discus. And it's, if you don't do this, you're just killing your finish, and you're just spinning around in a circle. You can get away with that with high school implements and stuff, and like lighter implements. But when you're throwing like a 2K and a 16 pound or a 7.26K shot, you can't get away with that kind of stuff. Like, you're just killing your throw. It makes meters and meters of difference. Like, it will just lead to further throws. It's another reason why Krauser is probably the best at doing that in shot put. And he's the world record holder. And you'll see almost every single really good thrower, like every thrower like over 70 meters, every thrower over 22 meters, like they will do this, all right? Or woman over 70 plus meters, or woman over 20 plus meters, or 19 plus meters. They do this with their knee, all right? I know it doesn't look like that much at all, but I'm just hammering this home. If you are not doing this with your knee, you need to be. And it's going to feel really weird, because it's not like a natural thing, but eventually, once you start drilling it, just like everything, because the throw itself, humans don't like really going rotationally. It's a very, very weird thing. So the throw itself, you put into positions that no other sport is in, really. There aren't very many sports that you actually like rotate in that much. To like the level, to the level that you do in like shot put and discus and hammer throw and stuff like that. But you're put in like these very, very awkward positions and stuff, and it feels very weird. But it's just like, this cue is just like every other cue. I'm sure like the first time like you were told to get over your left out the back, that feels very, very weird. But eventually it just becomes second nature to you when you do it long enough. It's just so important to do this. And if you don't, I mean, more power to you, but you're just not going to have that good of a finish. Like, you can do everything else really, really good, and then you get to the finish, and especially the finish in discus. If that discus does not fly right, you are doomed. All right? You might as well have just done a really bad stand throw at that point, because it's not going anywhere. All right? The flight of the discus is probably the most important aspect of discus. If you can't fly a discus, then you're just wasting your time, honestly, because you're just never going to throw very far. All right? So you gotta be able to deliver a discus correctly, and this is how. So, and it's also, you can also tell if you just produce no power into your discus, if there's no spin on the discus, and you can see it. Like, you can see the difference between one just like kind of floating through the air, and one actually like cutting through the air and spinning. And that's why rim weights are a thing. You got to spin a discus. The faster you spin a discus, the longer it will spin, and theoretically, the further it will go. That's why you have high rim weights, low rim weights, center weight, all that. It's because you got to be able to spin a discus. You got to be able to throw it correctly. All right? And I see this so much. All right, so this is my PSA. Drill this. Drill left heel down, right knee go out, and right heel go up. All right, and if you just raise the right heel, the right knee will automatically go out. And it's not like crazy. You don't want to be on like the tippy toes of your feet. You see how he's still on the balls of his feet, but it's just this super subtle movement, but it makes all the difference in the world in your throw. Like, look how long he stays on the ground. Like right there, he gets off the ground, but the disc has already been out of his hand. He's just moving so fast the frames can't. Realistically, the discus will pop up in like the next like quarter of a frame. Will pop out of his hand. All right. But you see how he actually stays grounded, how wide he's getting the discus out. That's the key to his throw right there. All right, obviously he's good from middle to back and whatnot, or back to middle, I should say. His finish is one of the best ever, and this is why. All right, because he works so wide out. He works out with his knee. All right, he stays on the ground forever. This is why he's successful. This is why Ryan Krauser's successful. Jakovacs, name it. Like all of them do this. All right. All right, so he gets here. So he's transferred weight over his block. So that's also another key thing of why he has such a good finish. Is one, because he has one of the best blocks in the game. And what I mean by block is his left side just stays still while his right works around it. And when you just stop your left side, all that energy will go into your right side and snap it around and make it go even further. If you turn your left side and right side at the same time, it's just gonna not deliver that much force. You're just gonna spin around in a circle. That's another thing that kills your throw, is if you don't have a strong block. All right. And he does the thing called a non-reverse to reverse, where he stays on the ground forever. He does a non-reverse. And then after he chases the discus out, and that chasing it out allows him to switch his feet and do the reverse. So he's not just jumping up in the air. He's doing a full non-reverse. All right. And then after the discus leaves his hand, that's when he reverses. You don't reverse while the discus is still in your hand. All right. Now, obviously, like, it may be like it'll be like in your hand like for a little bit, but for the most part, like, you notice like he is still square like to the sector. Like, he's still facing the sector. He's not up the ground or anything. Like, he is still on, like his left foot is still on the ground. Like, he transfers forward so good. This is the key to his throw, is his finish. Again, it's from, let's see, from the second his left foot lands, this position, that position. It's just this whole thing. Now, obviously, this was a little foul because he did, but and I think he could have saved that if he really wanted to. I don't quote me on this, but I think what he told his coach was he thought it was a bad throw, so he didn't even attempt it. Because sometimes your PR throws will, or your best throws ever, will feel bad because they just felt so easy, or like you must have made like a mistake or something. But the thing is, when you throw really good and you have a really good throw, it feels weightless. It kind of just pops out of your hand. And it shouldn't really feel powerful. If it feels super powerful, that probably means you're muscling it. It should feel easy. A good throw should feel like the easiest thing in the world. Like, you kind of just throw, and then like you go through the ring, hit the power position or the stand throw or whatever you call it, and you go, release it, and in shot put, it kind of just snaps off your hand. Discus, it kind of just pops out. That's it. Like, it kind of just pops out. And it feels weightless. The implement feels weightless. And that's a perfect throw. It feels weightless, easy, and it just goes. All right? And some people interpret that as like, ooh, that was a bad throw because it was not powerful. I don't know why Daniel Stahl thought it wasn't a good throw. Again, I could just be totally making that up. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. who's watched that interview and whatnot, the Vestin Stuyson like interview, like the lecture where he like has like PowerPoint slides and stuff. You can find that on YouTube. Just type in like Vestin Stuyson. Good luck spelling that. And Daniel Stahl, or you can just do Daniel Stahl lecture. That'll probably be easier to type in on YouTube, and I bet you can find it. It's worth a watch. I think it's like an hour, like 40 minutes long, something like that. And it's a really good watch. One, because it's good just to learn and stuff, and two, this is one of the furthest throws in history. I know it was a foul, but they measured it after the competition. And I think it came out to like high 73s or something, I think. It was definitely not like a 72. It was definitely a 73 or 74 meter throw. And yeah. But anyway, I hope you like this. I know I went on a bit of a rant on the finish. But yeah, other than that, there isn't too much to say. Like, I don't have any bad things to say about his throw, really. It's just, I know this is a foul, and I could critique. Let me actually critique why this is a foul, actually. Like, why he fouled this. So he got here, and he just under-rotated just a little bit. Because as you can see, left foot is there. Okay. Left foot is there. Where does he reverse to? Where does his right foot go? So in a really good reverse, the right foot should replace the left foot, and speaking as a right-handed thrower. But you see, his right foot landed here, and not where the left foot was. So what that means is he under-rotated a little. Just a little. Actually, kind of a lot. Not kind of, like a good amount. So you can always tell if you actually got all your force through the implement in the direction you want it to go by where you reverse or where you non-reverse, like where your right foot slides to or wherever, however type, or like where you do a step through or whatnot. But usually it's very easy to tell on a reverse, because if your right foot replaces your left foot, you're good. That means all your forces were in line and whatnot. However, if you under rotate, then it will be here on this side, and if you over rotate, that means you got here. So under rotation happens basically when you just stop rotating and you just basically, I like to call it, you just reverse too early. Or two, you over rotate, which means you are too upper body dominant, or you're just mistimed in your finish, which probably means that you didn't shift your weight over your block properly at the very end, and you just stayed over your right foot. So you kind of just rotated around and kind of fell back, or something like that happened. All right, but either way, he under rotated. So that's the reason why he fouled. Usually under rotations lead to more fouls than over rotations. Just because of this. Like, he just stepped too soon. So he lost balance just a little bit, as you can see there. And he stepped there, so it was already a foul no matter what. But I would like to say he could have just spun like a little bit. In my opinion. I'm not him. I didn't throw this throw, so it's hard to tell just by outside look. Maybe he just literally just couldn't because of the forces involved. But whatever. It's done. It's been a couple years since he's thrown this anyway. But this was prime Stahl. Honestly, I mean, he's still kind of in his prime, defending world champ. But yeah. Other than that, I hope you guys learned something. The biggest takeaway about this is his finish. Arguably the best finish ever. And yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. And have a good one. Oh, also, Happy New Year's. Hope you guys had a good Christmas and all that. And really appreciate all the help and feedback over this past year and over the years and whatnot. Really means a lot to me, and hope we can start off the new year really good. Track season's right around the corner. I know indoor season's pretty much started for some people already, and whatnot. So good luck to everyone in indoor and outdoor seasons, and yeah, see y'all later. Thanks for watching, and have a good one. Bye.